Hello everyone, welcome to Vizag IS Academy. My name is Hitendra Chaudhary and let me start this video with a tweet of Elon Musk. He said, India's birth rate has fallen below replacement. Among those most educated, India's birth rate fell below replacement many years ago. And in this tweet, he also shared an article of AF Post. What this article is saying, this article is basically comparing the birth rate or the fertility rate of different countries and Indian states also. If you see, South Korea recently has one of the lowest fertility rate right now in the world, which is around 0.7. It means one woman is not giving birth even to one child. If you see China, like there is India's fertility rate is around 1.3. Here you have Finland's birth rate is also around 1.4. Here we have Kerala, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, and here is Norway. Norway is also considered one of the most developed country in the world. And if you see many states in India, their fertility rate is even less than Norway. Then where we have Telangana and then overall India. If we see, look at India, India's birth rate or the fertility rate has gone below 2.0, means we are comparing to one of the most developed countries in the world. Even many states in India, they have birth rate below many developed countries in India. It simply means that women in India are giving less and less birth. There was this very beautiful article in the Indian Express also, which was saying across the world why fewer people are having children. But our discussion is going to be majorly on India, that what is happening in last 10 or 15 years, why there are less and less children in India, why women are not giving birth to enough children, and what is going to be the impact of it. And we are going to be discussing all the dimensions regarding this thing. But let me also share one more article here. This article, everybody I think must be knowing this news as well. Andhra's big population push. CM Chandrababu Naidu announces 30,000 incentive for the third child, 40,000 for the fourth. It means Andhra Pradesh government is encouraging more and more children. There used to be a time in 1970, there used to be a slogan, Hum do hamare do. But now if you see, Andhra Pradesh's government is encouraging women to have more than two children. Even they are asking for the third and fourth. Why? Because population of Andhra Pradesh might be declining in future on a very rapid level, and that is going to create a lot of problem. This is just a starting point. If you see in future, definitely there are going to be such more incentive from other states also, especially southern Indian states like Kerala or Tamil Nadu or Telangana or these states also, because in these states as well, fertility rate has been declining very fast. So in this video, I'll be talking about a lot of these dimensions. Okay, so in this video, majorly what we are going to learn, we will be learning why are we so populous. If you see, look at China, if you look at India or Pakistan, like Bangladesh and Pakistan were part of India, but why India is so populous, or in generally you can say why China or India are so populous. So I'll be just giving one slide on it, why we are so populous, why we have a population of more than 140 crore people, why India has become one of the most populous country in the world. There might be some reasons, right? Okay, I'll be talking about that. Second dimension that I'll be talking about is what is TFR and why people are not having kids. This is going to be the center point of all this video. I will be discussing the reasons that why people have stopped giving birth to children even after they get married. They get married and they don't, basically their whole idea is not to give birth. Even they are giving birth, one child is enough. So idea is going to be centered around it. What is TFR? Total fertility rate. Whenever you see the discussions regarding population increase or decrease, this term will always be there. Total fertility rate. I'll be talking about this also. Impact of reducing TFR. Yes, TFR is reducing, population is reducing, it will be stabilized after some time. What is the replacement level, how population stabilizes, and what is the impact of reducing total fertility rate. And a lot of these impacts we are seeing around us also, but I'll be giving them in a categorized way. Demographic transition theory. What is the meaning of it? How economic development, social upliftment, economic upliftment is related with the population growth. Why we have seen this trend that when a country or when a particular region gets more economically advanced, their fertility rate reduces, right? Why we also call it that poverty feeds population. Poverty feeds population. Why more people tend to have more children? Why developed countries, the western countries, have less and less children? We'll be talking about that as well, and how India is basically going through this transition or theory, or the demographic transition theory. Then we will be talking about a little bit about the demographic dividend. It's a very old topic, so I'll not be focusing much on it, but yes, I'll be talking about what is the meaning of dividend, how Indian population can help us to get this demographic dividend. India is getting older than richer. Yes, we'll be talking about that also, because we are going to compare India's population growth or India's population scenario with the Western world. Western world started reducing their population growth once they became rich. But in India, we have a different scenario. We have not become rich, but still our population is declining, or our total fertility rate is declining. This is a complete contrast with the basically these sort of theories. What can be done? Is there a solution? What can be the possible future? So we'll be talking about that also, and with these dimensions I'll be focusing on these all aspects. Okay, first let me show you this particular graph. Fertility rate in free fall. The total fertility rate. Okay, let me tell you what is the meaning of total fertility rate first also, only then we'll be going forward. Fertility rate, the average number of a children a woman is expected to have during her reproductive year 15 to 49 years, assuming current age specific fertility rate remain unchanged. It simply means that in her lifetime, how many children are going to be given birth by a woman. This is the simple meaning of total fertility rate. Like if we see, if we look at the previous generation of my father or generation of my grandfather, it was a very usual scenario that one woman is going to give birth to 5, 6, 7 or maybe more children. But these days women are going less birth, or there are less children. So total fertility rate simply means that in her lifetime or in her reproductive years, okay, how many babies are going to be coming out of a woman. That is the simple meaning of it. A woman is expected to have during her reproductive year. That is the meaning of total fertility rate. Okay, now if you look at this diagram I was talking about, total fertility rate, the average number of the children that a woman is expected to bear in her lifetime. Her lifetime does not mean 80, 90 years. Her lifetime simply means her reproductive years, which can be started from 15 years, or you can say up to 45 years. In some cases it can be 50 also, but it basically is biology, na? It's like menopause is there. So once a woman stops producing estrogen, or she's not able to bear a child, that is the meaning of this lifetime. Here it does not mean 80 or 90 years. Okay, has declined across the world in India. If you see this yellow color line, if you see, this is showing a trend in India, and this blue color line is showing a trend in the world. And if you see from 1960 and 2024, India's total fertility rate has declined exponentially. Okay, right now average of total fertility rate average in the world is what, 2.18. It means on an average a woman is giving birth to 2.18 children. In India it has now become 1.96, or you can say 1.9 or 1.8 also, because it's a 2024 figure. Now census is going to be out there, and there are a lot of expectations that it is around 1.7 or 1.8. Anyways, if we see, in 1960 India's fertility rate was 5.96. On an average, a woman was giving birth to six children, and world average was around 4.5. If you look at the comparison, total fertility rate has declined in India faster than the world average. And right now, our total fertility rate is less than the world average. It means India's population is declining faster than the world population. And this is a scenario almost in all over India, except few states like Uttar Pradesh. Total fertility rate is 2.2, Bihar 2.7, Meghalaya 2.2, Jharkhand 2.2, Madhya Pradesh 2.1, Rajasthan is 2.1. You need to focus on this 2.1 and 2.1. This 2.1 is crucial. This 2.1 is called replacement level. The map shows the only states with TFR at or above replacement level. What is the meaning of replacement level? Replacement level simply means that two children are replacing their parents. Okay, mother and father, they are going to have two kids. Those two kids are replacing their parents. That is the meaning of 2.1. Now you might be asking, sir, how a woman is going to be giving birth to 2.1? What is this 2.1? Look, there is always going to be chances that some kids are not going to, they are going to die during the birth. Okay, there is going to be labor pain or during the time of delivery. So that is why we had 2.1. That is the meaning of replacement level. If TFR is 2.1, it means population is stable now. Two parents replaced by two kids, they are going to be parents in future. They are going to be replaced by their own two kids. This is how things work, and population gets stable. If it is less than 2.1, it means in long run population going to decline, because two parents are not replaced by two kids. They are replaced by 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, or 1.5, or let's say in case of Korea this is 0.7 only. In India right now, two parents are replaced by 1.9 children. So in long run population is going to decline. Like up to 2100 population is going to decline, and India's population is going to be around 100 crore in 2021. So there is, like, let's say 50 crore less people as compared to 2026. Okay, that is the meaning of it. That is why this is very, very important. Now, why we are so populous? So that was the question I wanted to discuss. Look, there can be n number of reasons. I'll not be going into too much of everything, but one very prominent reason that why India, or you can say China also, are very, very populous: fertile land and largely reliable monsoon. Okay, India is very fertile land. Even it is so fertile that over more than 50% of land, it is arable, it is cultivable. More than 50% of land in India, you can do actually produce some sort of crops. So fertile land, availability of water, there are so many rivers, coastal area, you get agriculture productivity is bumper. And then there is very reliable monsoon also, which has been going on there for thousands of years. Reliable monsoon, different crops, 6 seasons in India, bumper population, bumper production of the agriculture products. And food, because we have bumper food, we have bumper population. Food supports population. More food you have, more population it can support. Simple. Another reason, medical advances, especially after 1960s. We have more hospitals, we have vaccines, we have better transportation, more doctors, more hospitals. Accessibility to medical basically services have increased in India, especially after 1960s. So if you see 60s or after 60s or 70s, people are, because they are getting more medical advances, there are less death rates. And because people are dying less, so overall you see there is more population. Because ultimately, what is population? Population simply means birth rate minus death rate. Okay, death rate, death rate. So there are going to be birth, there are going to be death. This is the meaning of population basically. And if there are less people dying, it simply means there is more population. Okay, that is what our life expectancy has increased a lot. um, when we got independence, it was around 35, but now India's population life expectancy is around 70. And if you go to some developed countries, their life expectancy might be 75, 80, or in some countries it is more than even 80. So that is another reason. History and civilization also. If we see, we have Indus Valley civilization, okay, which is around 5,000 years old, and we have evidence of earlier population also. So you can simply say this South Asia or this Indian subcontinent has been populated with people for more than 10,000 years. We have a very clear evidence that this particular land mass, this South Asia or this Indian subcontinent, people have been living here for more than 8,000, 9,000 years basically. So this land is being populated for 8,000, 9,000 years, yeah. So obviously there is going to be add on, and there is no, and it is a continuous civilization. There is no discontinuity in this. There is no large scale migration. There is no large scale death. Which happened in other case of other civilization, like we have Inca civilization or Mayan civilization. Those were the great civilizations, but their population declined because of some climatic issues or maybe some disease also. In India, population growth is continuous. There is not a large scale disturbance in the population growth. That is another reason. There are a lot of other miscellaneous reasons also that why population is so much high in India. Okay, so I'll not be going into that much of this, but you can suggest me something in the comment box also. Apart from these, what are the other reasons? Do not tell me about the religion. Religion has nothing to do with high population growth. Okay. Now, let me tell you a story of a person. If you see, this is a person, and basically he used to be a demographer. I'm not be going into too much of the names because that is not necessary for us, but he was a British demographer, very famous one. In 1960s, this person visited Delhi slums, and he looked at the slums, and he have seen the population growth there. It was too much dense. Density was 15,000, 11,000, 12,000, and he got scared. He got scared that how we are going to feed that many of people. It's a very small area. Thousands and thousands of people are basically crammed in a very narrow spaces, and he got scared. And he wrote an article, The Population Bomb. And he said battle to feed humanity was lost and that India was bound to starve. He basically did this forecast prophecy. He said that in next 10 to 20 years, India is going to starve. There is going to be famine. Lakhs and lakhs of people are going to die in India because population growth is too much, and there is less land, less food. And if you remember, that was the time when India was not able to produce enough crops also. We were importing wheat or other food crops from America or from other countries. So we were not self-sufficient in food production also. And population was growing like anything else. Okay. That is why he said it. And if you see in 1970, India was the first country which started family planning. It was the time of Indira Gandhi also. Then there was emergency also happened, and you very well know there were large scale of sterilization was also there. Basically, Indira Gandhi government was very adamant on reducing India's population, and in many cases it was forceful also, forceful sterilization. That whole ideology, that whole policy of the government of controlling population actually came from this person, because Indian government was also convinced that right now the largest problem that India is facing is actually population explosion, and India's food production is never going to be coping up with the rising population. That was the idea, and he was absolutely wrong. It did not happen. Indian population was rising, but our food production basically rose more than that. Then we had the green revolution and everything that you very well know. Anyways, so that was the thing in 1960 which was happening. Now we very well know that India's fertility rate has gone below 2.0 or 2.1, which was the replacement level. Right now this is 1.9, and world is little bit surprised by India. Okay, United Nations had its own forecast about India. Many other agencies also had forecast, but India surprised them all. India's population is declining faster than anybody basically imagined about India. We have basically we have gone beyond any expectations. India's population peaking in 21 years and then falling as sharply as it has risen. Earlier, it was estimated that India's population is going to be stable around 2075. Then they reduced the forecast to 2065. Now, India's population is going to peak. Some estimates are saying in 2030 to 2035. So basically, we have reversed the time 20 to 25 years. India's population is peaking in 21 years. So in next 15 to 20 years, India's population is going to be peaking, and then it is going to be reducing after that. And nobody expected this. By the end of the century, India is going to have only 1 billion, means 100 crore people. So we are going to be less than 50 crore people as of 2026. Our population is going to actually reduce. So India doesn't have a problem of population rise or population explosion. We are going to face a problem of population declining. And there was a question in UPSC also. I think it was to last year. It was about population decline. So there was a specific term which was used there. So we are not facing a problem of population explosion. Although in many political rallies or on social media, you might be seeing these sort of absurd news that India's population is a problem, but actually it is not. As Irudaya Rajan, a very famous demographer from India, says India's population peaking in 2050s. Earlier, People said it was 2075, then they said 2065, but he is saying in 2050s India's population is going to be peaking, and after that it will decline. So India basically sort of surprised everyone in this sense, and we have already talk about this. Now let me introduce a very beautiful theory which is called demographic transition theory. Okay, very beautiful one. What this theory is saying, this theory simply means as you get richer, fertility rate reduces. It simply means by that. Okay, as you get richer and richer, as you get economically and socially developed, basically economically majorly, population declines or fertility rate declines. It means rich people are giving birth to less number of kids, poor people are giving birth to more number of kids. That is why I also said poverty feeds population. Poverty feeds population. It was a very, very popular accepted fact. Okay, there is one more fact which says development development is the best contraceptive. The best contraceptive. It means more developed you get, more richer you get, more economically well off you get, less number of kids you are going to be giving birth. That is the meaning of it. Now, demographic transition simply means economic and social development leads to population change. And how this population change is going to be there, let me tell you. The red color is showing death rate, and this green color is showing birth rate. So this has 5 stages. In older books, you will find only 4 stages, but now they are saying 5 stages are there. It means a country basically crosses through these 5 stages of development. As they get economically advanced, their population is going to be changing according to their stages. So there are 5 stages. What was happening in the first stage? In first stage, birth rate and death rate both are sort of fluctuating, and they are a lot of similar. So if there are 5 kids, new kids, there are going to be, let's say, 4 death. Okay, next year maybe there are 5 kids and there are 6 death. So that was the scenario. The birth rate or death rate was almost similar. So population was stable. Population was almost stable here. But then comes the magic. Okay, what do I mean? Then comes the discovery of vaccines. Vaccines. Then comes the discovery of medical facilities. Okay, new medicines, injections, vaccines, medical facility, access to healthcare. Lot of doctors are there, and that is sort of thing. What happens because of that? Death rate declines. Less and less people, number of people are dying, but still birth rate is high. Birth rate is high. People do not stop giving birth to kids suddenly, but death rate is declining. So here you will see population increase. Yes, because deaths are less, the birth rate is more than death rate. That is the second stage. So population is increasing. In next case, what happens? Death rate are still declining. Obviously on a little bit on the slower pace, but birth rate declines sharply. Birth rate declines sharply, but still birth rate is less than death rate. Birth rate is declining obviously, but not as up to death rate. So here also you will see population increase. And you see in the second stage there were a lot of young kids. Okay, there was a lot of teenagers and everything. So when they are going to enter in this stage, so definitely they are going to be birth to some kids, because there is a huge large population which is in the reproductive stage. So that is also going to add here. Birth rate is going to decline, but still death rate is much less than that. So population is still rising. But then comes the another case. Then comes the another case. In this stage, birth rate and death rate again becomes almost equal to each other, and population stabilizes. That is, you can say, TFR 2.1. Okay, population stabilizes. Birth rate, death rate almost equal. Then comes the another stage. It likes South Korea or Japan or Germany or Eastern European countries, when birth rate is less than death rate. Less than death rate. So population declines. This is the fifth stage. If we look at India, India has reached stage number 4. Or you can, or you can say that some part of India, some part of India is already entering into stage 5. Some part of India are in stage 3 even, like you can say Bihar or Meghalaya, still there are a lot of birth rate is very high, 2.7, 2.5. So they are in stage 3. Some states are in stage, in the transition phase of stage for between 4 and 5. Some states are in between stage 4. This is, you need to know about India. So if we compare this transition theory in India, how we can go about it? Look, say the first stage in India, which was the high stationary stage, it was before 2021. That was the first stage. Birth rate was very high, death rate was very high. There used to be famines and droughts and lot of disease and everything. It was the British time, so we did not have much of the medical facilities. So birth rate was very high, yes, death rate was also very high. So that was the first stage. Okay, population was sort of stable. Then between 1921 and 1981, that is the stage 1 2 sorry stage 2, where birth rate was very high and death rate was falling. So population was rapidly rising, right? Population was rapidly rising because of the better healthcare, sanitation, food supply, and everything. It happened between this period. Third stage was 1981 to present. Okay, or you can say 1981 to early 2000s also. This is not very accurate diagram, basically. Early 2000 also. Uh, Death rate was low, obviously, and birth rate was also declining. So population is still rising, but slowly. Population still rising but slowly. So that is the stage. Now stage number 4, low stationary future. Birth rate is very low, death rate is also low, population has become stable. If you see some of the states like in Kerala, this is happening. India, some part of India might be entering into stage 5, and we might not be having the right data also, because population census is still going on. When data will come out, we will know which of the areas are in stage 5. But India is basically, most of the India is basically between this stage 3 and 4. Some states have already entered into stage 4. Some part of India might be entering into stage 4 and stage 5 as well. So there is no clear cut thing here, because India is a very vast country. We are sort of federal country, so we have different states have different population policies and everything. So you cannot say that this same situation is happening all over India. There is a lot of, India is the differences are there, state wise things are there. Okay, now I already told you about TFR, total fertility rate, right? And I already told you about the demographic transition theory. So traditional view was that rich countries are going to have low fertility. That is a traditional point of view. As you get richer and richer, you are giving birth to less and less number of kids. Poor people tend to have more fertility rate. That is a traditional point of view. Why I'm talking about it? Because in India, there is a contradiction to this view. Okay, I'm not saying in case of India this is wrong. No, but there are contradictions. I'll be telling you. Poor people tend to have more fertility generally. Why? I'll be talking about this. Why this is happening? More job participation by the women. Traditionally, this is a view. When women enter into job market, there are going to be less birth. Obviously, because when a woman is entering into the job market, first of all, they don't have time. Second, they are getting aware, and their marriageable age is also getting later and later. So a working woman is going to have less number of kids. That is 100% sure, because they have better decision making power also on their bodies, so they can take more decisions, better decisions regarding their health also. Work life balance for women, yes, that is also there. I already told you that if a working woman is there, there is a lot of struggle in maintaining work life and the family life. So traditionally it is imagined that in such a scenario women is going to give less birth. High female education and the job participation, so these points are basically similar sort of thing. What is the meaning of high female education? Simply means when a woman is completing their schooling, their college, so their marriageable age is going to be increased. So earlier if they used to get married around 18 years, now they are going to get married around 21, 22, or 23 years of age. So as they are getting married later, so definitely they are going to produce less and less kids. Okay, and if they are doing jobs also, then they have more autonomy over their body, and there are going to be less number of kids. And low marriage preference also, and it has been seen in the Western country. This does not apply too much in India, but in the Western countries we have seen when women get education, they get empowered, they do start doing work outside their homes, there is less marriage preference also. In Western countries, they don't like to get married. They want to live together. They want to have a companion. They want to have a girlfriend or boyfriend. But in a traditional way, they don't want to get married because they don't want burden of the kids. Also, they want to live their life freely. So this is happening in the Western countries also, although it does not apply in Indian case. I'll be talking about that as well. So that was the traditional view. What is happening in India? What is the India's view? Okay, let me show you this also first. This, I hope you are okay, you are able to look at it. Start young, stop young. Okay, what is the meaning of it? In 2021 and 1993, this is 2026 going on, so definitely there is going to be some change in the data also, because new census data would be coming up. In 1993, the marriageable age was around 17 or 18 years. Okay, when a woman is going to get married at 17 or 18, the first child is going to be at 19 years of age. 19 year of age, a woman was getting basically giving birth to the first kid. She is mother at 19. Now she has lots of productive years to produce more children. Yes, so obviously fertility rate is going to be very high. Now in 1999, if you see, marriageable age, the marriageable age is still same, and first child is also same. Yes, that is there. But if you see the age of last kid, in 1993, the last birth was around 32 to 33. But in 1999, it was around 31 and 32. Look, marriageable age and first baby was the same, but the last baby, it simply means that between these years, fertility rate declined a little bit. Earlier, they used to have like 4 or 5 kids. Now they have 3 kids. Now 2006, here is a change. The marriage is increased to 18 plus, and the first kid is around 21 years. Not that much difference, 1 2 year. But if you see, the last birth was around 27 or 28 years of age. It means fertility further declined. So she had the first baby around 20. She has the last baby around 27. So between 6 or 7 years, she might be having 2 or 3 kids. That is there. Okay. In 2016, if you see, the marriageable age is now around 20, and the first baby is around 22, and the last baby is around 27. So she is giving birth only for 5 years. In early, she was giving birth for 15 to 17 years. Now she is giving birth only to for 5 years. It means fertility further declined. And in 2021, if you see, the last baby was around 27 and the first baby was around 23. So she has only 4 years. So she's giving birth only to 1 or 2 kids in those 4 years. So it simply tells us that in India, women are having less and less number of kids. But in earlier slide, what we have seen? We have seen that rich countries have low fertility rate. Is India a rich country? Obviously not. India is a low income country. But why population is declining, TFR is declining? That is actually a paradox. The traditional thinking is changed here. Okay, what is happening in India? More than 90% of women are still getting married. In Western country, what happened? As women got educated, they started working outside, they stopped getting married. So this whole marriage institution is actually breaking there. But in India, women are getting education, but still 90% of women get married. So India has a concept of universal marriage. You cannot stay in India single forever, especially when you have some means in your pocket. Only 33% women are working outside India, or let's say between 33 to 40. And some government data is also saying 40. So women participation is also very less in India. In Western country, that is very high. So that is also against traditional thinking. Traditional thinking was saying if a woman is educated, she stays single, and if she is working outside, she is going to have less number of kids. In India, there is a paradox. Less and less number of women are working outside. Still 90% women are basically getting married, and still they are having less number of kids. Average Indian woman is getting around 19 years of age, and her first baby is 21. That is another paradox. In India, women are becoming mother early, but still they are having less kids. Means they are stopping having kids around 24, 25, or 26 of years age. After that, they don't get any more kids. India is a poor country, but still our TFR is low. What is the reason? I'll be talking about the reason also. If you look at here, if you look at the case of Japan or China, they have become rich first. Yes, they got rich and then their fertility declined. India is still a poor country, but our fertility rate declined below the replacement level. That is sort of paradox. But if you see in other countries, there is not that much of a paradox. Anyways, now we'll be talking about impact of declining population and the reasons of declining population. But there is a old saying in India. It is written in Hindi, but I'll be telling what is this. It simply means Shat Putravati Bhava. When a woman is going to basically taking blessing of a sage used to say Shat Putravati Bhava. It means I bless, may God bless you with 100 sons. That was the blessing you might be seeing in episodes also, in the historical text also. It means there was a male preference, 100 sons were expected out of a woman. I tell you one story also. This story comes from Mahabharata. This story actually correspondence with the modern thinking as well. So there was this rishi, Rishi Agastya. Rishi Agastya asked Limpadhura, what do you want? I will bless you whatever you ask me to. He asked Limpadhura, do you want do you want one super son or 10 good sons? Do you want one super son or 10 good sons? They are not bad, they are still good, but they are not super. Limpadhura said, I want one super son. This story resembles exactly with the modern thinking. These days, women are saying quality over quantity. I want one kid, but I will be putting all my resources on one kid so that this kid can get the best education and the best resources so that he can be like a Superman. That sort of stuff. Okay, now usually people talk about reasons first and impact later, but I'll be going reverse. I will telling you impact first. What is the impact of declining population? Then I'll be telling you the reason of declining population. And I will not be talking about every impact or the every reason. No, no. I have not taken that approach. I'll be talking about little bit the impact or the reasons which are little bit non-traditional. Okay. Anyways, what is the impact of declining population? It simply means aging population. Obviously, if there are less birth and less death, population is aging. By 2050, 1 out of every 5 Indian will be above 60 years. It means 60 plus population is going to be more than 25% just in the next 25 years. One every fourth or fifth person in India is going to be above 60 plus. I will be in that age. Okay, I will be in that age. So I'm telling you this. I'll be if YouTube survives in 2050, I'll be looking at this video back and I'll be telling you that yes, I'm in that age. I'll be making one more video on my 60th birthday if I survive. Oldest population between 2022 and 2050. Oldest people are there is going to be growth of 279%. Old people, it means 80 plus people. Around 2046, the number of elderly people to 60 plus in India is expected to exceed the number of children. Yes, getting this point. So 60 plus people are going to be more than young kids, 0 to 14. You can see the example of Kerala. Kerala is getting aged. Kerala understands this. That is why Kerala has one of the best best elderly population policy in India. Even they have a special department of aging. Okay, Kerala has one of the best policies in India. Still, only 19 to 20% elderly population are getting health benefits or the pension benefits there. You can look at the scenario of other poorer states. You might have a policy, but still old people are suffering. That is going to be very, very sad situation in future also. So there are going to be no people to take care of the elderly population. I might be living in an old age home. That is 100%, more than 99% sure. Because I have only 2 kids, let's say. and they are going to go and get work outside, maybe outside India, or maybe outside my home state, or maybe outside my home. I will be living in old age home in that time, because people, their kids don't have time, or maybe they don't have that sort of commitment that we have for our parents. That can be, it's a huge impact is going to, you can see in Japan or everything. In Tamil Nadu also, because population is aging, you will see a lot of modern high tech world class old age homes in Tamil Nadu also, and in Kerala also. That is happening. It will happen in Telangana soon. It is still happening on a very small scale, but that is going to happen everywhere. You will see old age homes, old age home for poor people, old age home for middle class, old age home for rich people also. You can see that in metro cities also. There are a lot of things in like Kolkata, Delhi, or Mumbai and all things. Impact of declining population, internal migration and loneliness. That is happening already. It is happening in Tamil Nadu and in Kerala. If you look at the record, most of the young kids or young children or working class people working in the old age homes or the factories, they are not local. They are coming from Odisha. Most of the girl caretakers in Tamil Nadu are from Odisha. People are working outside, na? Because the job culture, job nature has also changed. So no labor in the southern states, especially less kids, less working people. There is migration also, maybe outside India or to other states, and then there is no labor available. Now what they need to do, they need to call labor from, like say, Bihar or Odisha or West Bengal or these states. Yes, working age population is going to peak in 2030 in India. After that, working age population is going to decline. What I mean by working population, for let's say from 15 to 60 years of age, that is going to peak in 2030, just in 4 years. Internal migration is there. People are getting lonely. Like if you see in Uttarakhand also, there are many ghost villages also. Young kids are going to cities, moving to cities. Earlier, what used to happen, there used to be like three brothers or two sisters. Like sisters are definitely getting married and going outside. But out of three brothers, let's say two brothers are going outside to earn money. One brother was left behind to take care of the parents. That used to be a scenario. But now they have only one son. This one son is going outside. If they have a daughter, is going to get married and going outside also. Parents are left behind. This is a scenario which is happening all over India. Yes, shrinking workforce. Obviously, who is going to work? Who is going to work? Nobody is going to work if they don't have the young people. Yes, so there is going to be shrinking workforce. This is going to impact the GDP because production is going to decline. GDP is going to decline, and there is going to be a lot of economic strain on our government budget also. Shrinking population, less productivity, less GDP growth. Pension burden also. Population of young people, like working age people are less, and dependent population is more. Dependence means 60 plus, but government needs to pay them pension. And where this pension is coming from? From the contribution of the working class, right? If working people are less, there is going to be more pension burden. So there is going to be more pressure on the government health checker or the government exchequer. Healthcare expenditure is going to increase. Yes, because 60 plus people are going to be, if you are getting older and older, obviously there are going to be health issues. There is another burden. Higher taxation also. In order to keep up with the pension or the health expenditure, these working people need to basically pay more taxes, because where government is going to get money from? Only from the working class. So they need to tax you on a higher rate in order to support the elderly population. That is happening in Japan. Japan is basically going through this phase. Japan government is struggling to pay pension. Look, what is pension? When let's say there is an this is an old person, 60 plus, in his younger age, he contributed for his pension, and in later stage he gets the pension. But if there are less working people, how they are going to afford pension for the elderly people? How government is going to manage this? There's a lot of problem. So yes, high taxation rates are going to be there. And I already told you that shrinking workforce simply means economic slowdown. Representation decline, parliament in the delimitation. You might be reading these news also, that why southern states are basically opposing this delimitation also, because in southern states population is either stable or it will decline faster than the other North Indian states. So definitely there is going to be more representation of North Indian states in the parliament, because our this representation of the seats in parliament are according to the population. So northern Indian states are going to have more population, so they have more representation. That can also create a lot of problem in north and south divide. There is already a north and south divide in many cases. That is going to accentuate in future. That might be there. And obviously there are less and less people, there is going to be less demand for education or the toys or housing, household goods sets, because consumption is going to reduce na. Who is going to consume if there are no people, right? That is going to be there. Impact of declining population, politics, out of hate or fear. You might have seen in political rallies also, there is this sort of fear which is like sometimes you must have seen some people who are sort of radicalized politicians. They always say Hindu khatre mein hai, population of Hindus are declining, Muslims are going to take over. That sort of hate is also there, right? So if population is declining, these political parties can actually spread more hate and fear in some communities. Even in Kerala, if you see, schools are closing, right? Schools are closing because there are no kids to go to school. That is actually happening. Even in Himachal Pradesh also it is happening in many places. There are no kids in the school. So what is the point of having a school? They close the school. Villages are depopulation. That is a very big problem in Kerala, Uttarakhand, or some part of Himachal also. Young kids are moving outside of their villages. Villages are getting depopulated. They are moving to the larger cities or the these metro cities also. That is going to be a problem. These population decline is going to face this sort of issues also. Aging societies may experience greater focus on the pension. I already told about it. Increased healthcare spending. I also told you about it. Intergenerational tension and the redistribution conflict. What is the meaning of it? There are so many videos on social media where old parents openly criticize their kids because they do not take care of them. In many states, there are specific laws which says if a son is not taking care of their kids, their parents, parents might take away the property from them also. This is the duty of kids, children, to take care of their old parents. So intergenerational tensions are also there because there is a value clash. There is a lifestyle difference also. Old people and new people, or the young people, young generation, there is a value clash. Yes, economic issues are there, health issues are there. There are a lot of things are there. So that can also need more problem. Now, let me talk about the reasons. Why are fertility rates falling? There is no single explanation, to be honest. There are exceptions. Earlier, we used to think that rich people means less kids and poor people have more kids. But there is no single explanation. What is happening in very developed society, like in Japan or like in Korea? So there is a trend in those countries that rich people in those countries, I'm not talking about average. Look, their average are going to be richer than us, obviously. But rich people in those countries are now having more kids. But the middle class in those countries, or the poor, let's say, poor or middle, they are having less and less kids. Rich people are having more kids. Ultra super rich people are having 5, 7, or maybe more kids. That is a very surprising scenario. In India, if you say middle class people, even some cases in poor people are also having less and less kids now. So there is no clear cut single explanation here that why people are getting less babies, but we can discuss some of them. One very prominent reason is girls go to the school. Okay. There is, especially after 1990s, school chale hum, or these all different programs of the government. So there was encouragement from the government to send more girls to the school. Yes. And in 2026, there is almost 100% enrollment of girls and boys in the school. Okay. So when more girls are going to go to school, has definitely an impact of fertility. So if they are going to get educated, they're going to get aware, they have more autonomy over their body, they have more decision making in the family regarding the kids. That is there. Greater degree of autonomy, I already told you, and the fewer children, because now they are getting married late. Earlier, they used to get married at 13 or 14 or 15. Now, because they are going to school or colleges, they are getting married later and they have more autonomy, more decision making also. That is very prominent reason that you must remember. Change in the aspiration of the modern Indian parents. That is also there. Because of the social media and the media in general, now we are exposed to international scenario, what is happening. Okay, earlier we did not know what was happening around the world. So we have a very sort of narrow point of view. Now we think globally. We live locally, we think globally. Now our aspiration has increased. Now we want a one super kid rather than 10 good kids. So quantity over quality. Parents are preferring quantity or quality rather than quantity. So they have whatever resource they have, whatever job they have, whatever land they have, whatever resource they have, they want to spend that source only on one kid, or let's say two kid, or let's say one kid in that case. So that is there. So declining role of welfare state also, like if you see in the Scandinavian countries, or maybe in case of India also, so there used to be a lot of schemes for parents to have family planning. There used to be a lot of free test and everything which was there, but now that is also declining. So parents are have don't have much of incentive. If you see in India, there are a lot of schemes which are there for the pregnant ladies and all that. We have the paternity leave also, maternity leave also, that sort of concept that we have. That is a space welfare state. If these measures are not there, it means parents need to bear all the burden on themselves. So they don't have more kids. Yes, so that is there. Aspirations are changed, culture is changed, thought process has changed. These modern people, they don't want to get married, they want freedom. Nuclear families are also there. Earlier, what used to happen, India used to have joint families. So there used to be parents, grandparents, cousins, uncles, and aunties living in under one roof. So there were a lot of people to take care of the kids. Okay, so that is why you can have more kids, because you don't need to worry about how you are going to raise them. Everybody was there to take care of them. There used to be mummies or aunties and all those things. Now they are not. In 2001, about around half of the Indian families lived in houses with several generations. Grandparents, parents, children, aunts, uncles, aunties under one roof. Now 70% so live in the nuclear families. You see, just in last 25 years, this ratio has increased from 50% to 70%. There are only very nuclear families. Mummy, Papa, and kids. No grandparents, because they are living in the villages. They don't want to come to cities. Our children do not want to go to the villages. This is how nuclear family. Now they don't have time to raise more kids. They don't have money to raise more kids because everything is very, very expensive. Schools or fees or health facilities, rent, housing, everything is so expensive. And raising kids is very, very expensive. So they want to have less number of kids. That data is coming from the National Sample Survey. Nuclear families are leading to less kids. This trend has been seen in Japan or Korea or China as well, and in India as well. No more boys preference. That is a good thing in a way. Earlier people used to have preference for boys, and in order to have a boy, they used to have as number as kids possible. Till that time they used to have a boy. Like in my family, I have 5 sisters. Okay, my mother gave birth to 5 kids, sisters, so that she can have a son or me. Okay, if there was one son, first son, I think there used to be only 2 kids at the max. It was a very common scenario, boys' preference. But thankfully, this is not happening now, or it is declining. So people don't care if there is a boy or no. They are going to have 1 kid or 2 kid at the max, and they are going to stop then. This is a good, basically good breather there. Changing in culture, it has become very aspirational. If you see on the social media or in the movies or soap operas, daily TV shows, nuclear families, small families are preferred. People are watching or exposed to these ideas, so now they want to have less and less families. So there is this cultural shift where people think small family, happy family, right? That is there. Shared by the change in technology and the access to information. Yeah, that is happening now. Earlier in villages, there used to be no TV, no social media, nothing. So they used to have their own sort of thought process. Now they have this, basically they are exposed to ideas of the urban thinking or the international thinking, and thanks to this technology, TV, mobile, internet, so women are not willing to have children. Even there was a survey where it was basically where the willingness to have kid is only 1.5. So women are don't want to have more kids. Even they are poor, they're housewives, they're not working outside. Still, they want to have less number of kids. Spread of cable television in villages in 2000, especially. There used to be TV cable TV in the villages. So that idea that government wanted to spread, it went to the villages, and that sort of thing happened. And access to smartphone change interaction. There is not no basically convincing argument regarding that, but some estimates are saying, some people are saying that because everybody is busy in their mobile phones on reel scrolling and everything, so now people are having trouble making real world interactions, so there are less chances of having a real partner. That might also be leading to that. And say there are some studies which are also showing that more exposure to technology can reduce fertility also. Yes, that is also there. Rise in individualism, I already told you. Now everybody wants to have freedom, self-realization, individual aspiration, my rule, my life. Everybody wants to live according to their own thing. So they don't want to, the burden of kids. Burdens are, children are usually considered a burden by this present generation. So they want to delay their marriage as late as possible, or even they don't want to get married. Okay, people are increasingly basically prioritizing their career or lifestyle, personal happiness over the family expansion. That is very, you, if you are young people, you might relate with us also. But if you are old and watching this video, we might not be relating with this. Women participation in workforce. Yes, if a woman is working outside, she's career oriented, so there are time constraint also. But because a woman need to focus, even she's working outside, still she need to juggle with her job and the family responsibility also. Because in India, males usually do not participate in the house chores, so women has a double burden. She needs to do job during the day, and when she comes back home, she needs to take care of the children also, her in-laws also, and she need to make food also, and also a lot of stuff. So she has double burden, job and family. In that case, she wants to have less number of kids so that she can manage this responsibility, because it is very time taking also. Yes, opportunity cost motherhood, है ना? So if you are pregnant and if you are raising a kid, so obviously there are less opportunities for you outside. That is also there. And yeah, so women, they choose less number of kids, or even they don't want any kids. Now, what used to happen in earlier times, there used to be less survival rate. Okay, now there is no problem because of the health facilities. If there is one kid, there are more than 99% chances that child is going to survive. Earlier they used to have 6 or 7 or 8 kids, only 1 or 2 kids used to survive, so there were definitely chances of having more kids. These days infant mortality has declined, healthcare has improved, so there is no problem. So that is also there. Climate anxiety is also there. If you see on the social media, a lot of things are going on regarding the climate change. Future is very uncertain. There are going to be a lot of calamities in the future, or the droughts, or the famines, or the floods and everything. So a lot of young kids are quite scared of their future, so they don't want a new life to come in this world, because future is uncertain. That might be one reason. There can be some other reasons also, and I already told you about this, that already. Rich countries and the poor countries both having the slow declining fertility. Rich countries have their own reason. Poor countries have their own reason. So in rich countries, people are having less kids because the individualism, career orientation, delayed marriage, and the welfare state changes, like in the Scandinavian countries, as especially in the developed countries, developing country like India. Because of the education, urbanization, family planning, and the declining child mortality, people are having less and less number of kids. That is already there. Is there any solution? May not be, because in Japan, in South Korea, Russia, in many countries, government actually tried to reverse the trend, but it did not basically happen. In China also, there used to be one child policy. It was removed. People did not give birth to kids, because once you start realizing these things now, you cannot go back to the history. Now you cannot start suddenly giving more birth to kids. That doesn't happen. A lot of governments tried it, but they failed completely. Immigration as a solution, it can be there, but it's a very short solution. Like you say the Germany, or you say others, developed countries, they invite people from outside as a labor or as a working population. But in India also, if you see the Tamil Nadu, Kerala, southern Indian states, they invite people, or people actually naturally go to these places to for the work. Yes, that is a solution for a short period of time, but there are a lot of challenges also. Cultural tensions are there, social integration and politics is also there. You always see this sort of politics in Maharashtra, Marathi speaking and everything. In Tamil Nadu also, Hindi speaking versus Tamil speaking. Yes, they need people to work, but they want those people to accept their own culture also. So there can be social issues economical issues, lot of things can be there. So there's a problem. So it's not a long term solution, है ना? Long term solution that Andhra is thinking that their local population should rise rather than to compensate with the immigrants also. Yes, government schemes can also be there, cash incentive there, tax benefit that like in case of the Andhra, housing support can be there, child subsidy, paid parental leave, the like maternity leave, paternity leave can be there, IVF or the fertility treatment support like in case of Andhra Pradesh, gender equality policies can be there, like people do not discriminate too much in the boys and girls, that can be there, life work life balance also, right, like so there can be a government policy that after 5 p.m there is not going to be any work whatsoever, doesn't matter, a person should go to family, yes, spend time with family and basically expand your family, because if you are not going to spend time with your family, how you are going to expand your family? There's no point. And if you are constantly in the stress of work, your fertility naturally declines. Okay, so there should be enough family time so that you can, spend quality time with your wife or husband and you can have more kids. Automation and technology, it can be a solution, but not a long term, because if everything is robotic, like if you go to Japan, if you go to hotel, there are 90% chances that in hotel there is not going to be any human on the reception. There is always going to be a robot, but that declines the human relation, right? So you want a human interaction. Automation, robots, they cannot replace human feelings. That can be another social issues in future if it happens. Yes, that can be there. Demographic dividend, basically it simply means if you have a young population which is a working population, it can generate lot of productivity, it can basically help your GDP to grow. That is the meaning of dividend. Simply means benefit. Demography means population. If you have a young working population which is generating economic welfare for you, economic benefits for you, that is means you are getting the dividend. It's like you are investing in a company and that company is giving you profit in return. That is called dividend. But every human cannot be a resource. This dividend can be there only when your working population is educated. Okay, when they have a decent education or skill development, they can manufacture further, only then they can, like in case of India, we have a large young population, which we are the one of the youngest country in the world. We have a huge working young people. Are they skilled? Are they educated? Are we giving them employment? Obviously not. It means we are not getting the benefit of this working age population. So we are not getting demographic dividend. We want to give them more skills. They have to have more skills, more better education, right? More industry and everything, so that we can have this demographic dividend. So there was this window opportunity for India to grow by with the help of the young kids. But for that, we need to have all those sort of things. We need to have skills or education and everything. Only then we can have. Otherwise, this window is getting closer and closer. So there is no point of opening this window after 1945, because you have less working population. There are more aged people, right? Even if they want to work, they cannot work because of the health issues and the physical constraints are there. A young person can work for 15 hours, 14 hours. A aged person cannot work for that long hours. Yes, so India's population, if you see, there are short-term priorities and the long-term priorities. In short-term priorities, which is like the next 4 years, 5 years, 7 years. Okay, employment generation should be there, skill development should be there, health expansion, the women empowerment, the education. Long-term pension system, elderly care, social security, age friendly infrastructure. These are the long term priorities that India need to have. But thing is, we need money for that. Government needs to have a huge budget for that, and that money is going to come from the working age people. Yes, and working age people means educated, skilled people. They are going to come from here. If we invest in education or skill, they are going to contribute to the budget, to the Indian revenue. That revenue is going to be spent later on all these things. So without young people generating revenue, there is nothing that government can do. Okay, so that is all for it. Look, I had this idea that I'll be completing this video within 30 to 35 minutes, but it doesn't happen in that way because this topic is too large, and still I missed many dimensions that I know, because this is a very large topic. Basically I can spend 3-4 hours continuously talking on this topic that I totally avoided, but I have tried to cover most of the dimensions that I thought can help you to understand this whole concept. And If you have some other dimensions in your mind, please let me know in the comment box. If you have some feedback how we can improve these videos in future, you can also let me know in the comment section also. That is all for the day. Thank you very much. All the best. Jai Hind.